Good evening. Welcome to the Relishing Dead podcast, where we devour everything in the TWD universe and beyond. I'm Dawn.
Elisa.
I'm Carol.
And we're missing Barb tonight. Barb's not feeling well, so we're missing you tonight, Barb.
There's Rick. Naked Rick. Naked Rick.
So tonight we're going to discuss from season 1, episode 3 and episode 4. Episode 3 is Choosing Day, and episode 4 is A Rock and a Far Away.
Now, we can't just, no. You guys tell us what you did this weekend.
Well, I thought we said that till the end, but okay.
No, this is most important of all.
So Barb, Pam, and I decided to take a little trip to Kingsport, Tennessee, because two of the From casts were there. The one, Harold, which plays Boyd, and Cordion, which plays Ellis. And it was amazing. They were so thankful. They were so thrilled about everybody's support. They were wonderful. They were just overwhelmed, like, with all the support everybody was giving them. They were really appreciative. Yeah. The cool thing is, when we went up to Cordion, he's like, I've heard of you all. Relishing Dead. He's like, I know. And we're like, wonder how. But he said he was supposed to have lunch with Scott next week. So I don't know.
So,
or this week.
Kudos to Scott and Liz for talking us up. I mean, it's so appreciated.
Yeah.
You know, that they would think enough of us to mention us on set to everybody.
And I did ask him about season 3, and he said maybe like September, not quote him on it. He's not for sure. He also, I asked him, I was like, he was talking about his character, and Barb's like, so you don't get killed that season? And he's like, he didn't say anything. And I was like, is there a lot of deaths? And he said, yes, there's a lot of deaths this season. But the way they talked, and like I said, this is just my interpretation of what they were giving off, that there is going to be a season 4.
Is?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's fantastic.
They haven't got the green light yet, but the way they were talking,
Well, it's just been amazing what this show, I think, Dawn, you even said it, From is doing for MGM what Walking Dead did for AMC, and it's just it really is blowing out of the water. I'm really hoping some of these conventions, Fan Expo, or any of the other ones around, pick up the cast, because they're so amazing to visit with and talk with. And so many of the actors on the show, this is like their first big break, like for Cordion, like for Avery, they've done things, but this is like their first big show. So it would, and it'd be great to see them get picked up by some conventions.
Yes. And like I said, their lines were pretty steady. We had talked to some fans standing in line for other things, and some of them didn't know about From. So of course we was giving them the spiel, because there was people asking about our shirts, what that meant. And we were telling them that we were there to see them. But like I said, he even agreed. Harold even agreed about that statement you just said, because we said that to him about MGM, what AMC, Walking Dead did for AMC. Yeah, and he agreed, and he was hoping. But like I said, I was blown away. You could see that they're a lot like the TWD actors. Really sweet, kind, really, just really appreciative, down to earth, love to hug. They were all in for it, laughing and joking. It was
and
great.
they were wearing our bling bling the next day.
Yes. Like, I would pay to see them again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's good to hear, because you never really know how they're going to be. And I'm glad to hear that. We've got Pam and Anissa. We've got Wes. We've got Kiki. Hey, everybody.
Well, I got this pretty poster signed. Got Harold's down here. And then Cordion's over here.
Yeah. Good looking men, that's for sure.
And I think on yours, Eliza, Cordion wrote, I love your show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I know the girls surprised me. I told Dawn, I said, well, when you get inside, call me. I wanted to know, I wanted to hear their experience with him. So
Well, I thought you meant call me. I called you.
So Dawn calls me and she's like, oh my God, we just saw, Harold. And she said, oh, hang on. And then she just hands him the phone. And I'm like, dumbfounded. And I start crying. And he was just precious. And then, like, an hour goes by and Dawn's phone rings again. But this time, there's no Dawn on the phone. It's Cordion. Just him. And he's like, hey, I've got a bone to pick with you. Why aren't you here? And I'm like, duh.
I love that. I love that they do that kind of stuff. I think that's super sweet.
Yeah, it was. And I appreciated Dawn remembering me for that. But yeah, they were fantastic. So
I will tell you this, and this is like really bad, and I feel bad for saying this, but like Ellis's character wasn't one of my favorites. But after meeting him, like I totally love him now. Like I love his character. Like he changed me that much for his character.
yeah.
Dawn just keeps adding that notch to her
I
belt, boy.
know. And I don't want to hear it. Carol, Tom Savini, Greg Nicotero,
Tom Savini and Greg
Rick.
Nicotero, those guys were grandfathered in. They've been around since before The Walking Dead was, so they are grandfathered in.
But how many Walking Dead actors have done that for us as well? I mean, I know Carol and I, a good prime
Greg
example is
Nicotero.
Richie Foster. Richie.
Greg
Richie.
Nicotero.
We got the Pope. Pope did that for us. This.
Yes, Richie. So we got drinks with Richie. Yes.
Yeah. So Kiki says, I remember Harold and Seth in Oz on HBO in the early 90s.
Yep.
Harold was actually set to be cast as King Ezekiel on The Walking Dead, but he turned it down for something else. And of course, they picked Kari, which Kari's Ezekiel, hands down. But I could see where Harold would have made a great Ezekiel as well. So
I will tell you this about Harold. He is so like the TV don't do him justice. The TV does not do that man justice. He is 100 times more handsome in person.
He yummy.
Barb was like speechless, and Barb, she ain't speechless. She couldn't get anything out. She was in tears. He was holding her hand because she was just like, I'm like, she's like, Ross, who? I'm like, you don't Ross. She goes, give me 24 hours.
Give me 24 hours. Ross, Teo, who's that? I don't know who those men are.
Oh, he was so handsome in person.
That's great. Well, I'm so glad you guys.
Everybody say hello to my niece Michelle. She's first time I think she's been in the show watching.
Hi, Michelle. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, welcome to the jungle.
Right, Pam. We've never seen Barb speechless before either. So
yeah, it was like.
Well, now that we've talked about the men, let's talk about the actors. What do you say, Carol? The characters.
The characters. I love Boyd.
Yeah.
Love his character. And Liz, of course, is a personal favorite. And Jade.
And Scott.
And Jamie is just the creepiest ever.
Yeah. And the sweetest ever.
Can
you imagine a photo op with Jamie?
No, because that's his normal smile.
But see, I want the cast around me, and I want Jamie standing on a block above us with his smile.
Yeah, creeping out everybody. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Super sweet.
No, I really love the characters in this show. I'm not a big fan of, and of course, you guys know how horrible I am with names. The dad, what is his name?
Jim, played by Eon Bailey.
Yeah, not a big fan of that character.
Especially with episode 3 and 4.
Yeah, I just not. But I gravitate more towards the bigger character, the more character roles. The like Donna and Victor and those kind of and Smiley. I like those kinds of characters because I like that the weird shit. So
Yeah. Well, you guys ready to talk about the episodes? Because Jim really pisses me off in these episodes.
With what?
Because Jim really pisses me off in these episodes.
Oops, let me get back here. Hold on.
Freeze frame.
I was checking my slides to make sure that they were all there. So sorry about that. All right. So here's the beginning. So yeah, I meant to put a little disclaimer up there. Sorry, guys. So dude's getting stoned.
The other dude's getting stoned. Well, they're both getting stoned.
Colony House or whatever, is that right?
The town?
Yeah, Colony House. Yeah.
Colony House, yeah. So God, I sound like I haven't even watched it, and I've watched all these episodes like 6 times. It's terrible.
But but how in the world could you sleep
with
right
2 people going at it right next to you? I don't know.
That's why I picked the town to live in. I don't want to live at Colony House. Too loud.
Too loud.
I was like,
too many people taking my stuff.
Those fornicators.
Oh, Jade.
Yeah. Ask Eugene about how it feels to live in a house where you're like right next to somebody who could do it. Yeah. Okay, so here's the mom and dad, and she's having this nightmare or whatever, and they're all, where are they sleeping? Because they haven't gotten to the house yet.
No, they're still at Colony House.
They're still at Colony?
Yeah. And this is where Jade wakes up from his drug-induced blackout.
Right. And I gotta say, he doesn't look bad in handcuffs. Right, Dawn?
Exactly.
That's what Trudy said. Trudy was like, "Can I just sit here and look at him?"
Yeah. Because he's pretty.
And I love Donna's reaction when he said, "You don't know who I am," and she's like, "Oh shit, you're one of those."
I know.
Yeah. I liked it when she said, "Look, I'm usually more
cordial
about this," and then she just dives right into it.
Yeah.
The cattle cart there was very ominous, and we weren't quite sure what they were going to do with it. But then we find out later what exactly they use it for.
The box.
The box.
The box.
Yeah. The box.
The box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Open the box. I felt really sorry for this guy. I mean,
Frank.
Yeah, he's and I understand, Boyd's difficulty and torment on doing this. But yeah, he shouldn't have been drinking, dude. Or if you're going to be drinking, you should have at least nailed the window shut,
But the only thing I didn't understand about all that is, okay, what was the Reverend's name?
Father Carty.
Yeah, like, to me, he should have been the one saying what Boyd said. And I'm really surprised the town was like a mob and wanted him to do that. Like, they were coming to watch him be put in the box.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand that whole thing of, like, why wouldn't they have sympathy? Like, I don't know.
And I think Boyd even really expresses that to Cautry. He's like, you're supposed to be the one that's talking about forgiveness and penance and, loving. And, it's like, well, if that's what you want to hear, and, but it was very opposite of what you would expect a priest to do. Like, you would expect a priest to be saying, no, we need to forgive this man and not,
right,
not to die. But I understand, but it was, you build this thing as a form of deterrence and punishment for people who cause the death of another person and out of their negligence. And he's right. If you don't use it, what do you do the next time something like that happens?
But then why just not keep him in jail?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they probably just don't have a big enough jail.
He was sleeping in that room.
That's true. That's true.
Anissa asked, do you think the town is bringing new people in as older residents die?
I'm sure, or as people die, because it's like they
Replenishing.
replaced the family that got killed in the house. Yeah.
Replenishing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they knew that that was going to happen. But the
Mm-hmm.
town, the entities, whatever's in control of this sick little game that's being played.
Yeah. Yeah. When you think Donna, looking forward a few episodes, because I don't think most of us have watched it, is, Colony House loses 14 people. And then, like, what happens just a couple of an episode later, the bus shows up with 25.
Right.
So they're.
But we haven't gotten to those episodes yet.
Okay.
I'll put it back on the naked couple if you're not good.
The naked couple if you're not good. Oh God.
I love
I
this
love
scene.
that.
Love this scene. Cracked up. I mean, Jay just thinks that he's in some sort of big ass prank from a friend of his, and by God, he's gonna figure out the mystery.
I think it's funny that you use that picture because I use that picture for scavenger.
I love that. I love the pure joy on his face, like I'm playing a game with my buddy.
Yes.
Wesley, this is the ultimate escape room. You create a whole town and everybody's got to get out of the town. The ultimate escape room.
There it is. The next survive the night. There it is.
Exactly.
Oh, I think that's funny. I felt really, really bad for
Tien Chain.
for the mom after the dad died. She was so lost, and she's like, if I had been there, and even if you were there, it wouldn't have changed anything. That whole type of conversation, like she could have done something, and just the grief that she's dealing with and the guilt,
Had she been there, Kenny would have
been there,
lost
she
both
died.
parents. He would have lost both parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, Kiki, we watched the whole thing too several times, and we just try not to, get ahead of ourselves. And then the parents playing with the boy, and the daughter's watching this.
All right.
The broody teenager.
The broody teenager.
All
right. For as much as this little kid gets on my ever-loving nerves, and I tell myself he's only like 9 or 10 in real life, and he is. But something in my gut says that he's got the storyline, and of the clues, because there's too much that he lines up with what Victor knows and the Lake of Tears. So there's just something about this story of the flight of the Chromonocle that is too aligned with what's going on in the town and the quest and all that. I don't know how to word that exactly, but there's something about this story that he's so enthralled with.
And it also, like, when that Victor said nobody's seen the little boy until you came there, and I wonder if it's because it's the brother that he lost.
Well, but didn't Victor see the same little boy when Victor was a boy?
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying maybe that's why he's seeing it again, because
he's lost a sibling. Because Victor lost his sister, right?
Right.
Interesting.
So there's something within these two people of Ethan and Victor. And Victor, even though he's an adult, he's very much still stagnant as a child in his mental development, emotional development, things like that. So he aligns really well with Ethan, and he understands the ideology of a quest. And I think there's something there that will help piece this together.
I wonder if they were the same age being there.
Maybe.
That could be very true. That could be very true. A reflection of himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That certain innocence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe the boy in white is drawn to.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I thought, man, this is so sick and twisted that they give the family this house and they haven't even cleaned it.
I know.
Right? That was my first thought. I'm like, oh, welcome to the neighborhood. Here's your new house. It's a little dirty.
It's
Yeah.
the murder house. Yeah, yeah. I mean, why not make Frank go up there and clean that and repaint
Right?
it?
The least he could do is clean, his own family off the walls. I don't know. That's
and
kind
and
of cruel, I guess.
you know that smelled. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been to a slaughterhouse or Jason. Where's my Jason at? You know, when you kill something, there's such a distinct smell of blood. It's very, very distinct. So you know that had to reek in there.
But what's so funny is Boyd cleans up the box,
Yeah.
but nobody cleans up the house.
Right. Shut
Yeah.
the door.
So let's clean the box up. That's a priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's scare the shit out of these other people with the room.
Right.
Well, maybe he's trying to tell him not to open the window. I don't know.
Exactly.
Man, I'd be opening up those windows just to get the stink out of there.
Stank.
Yikes.
Hi, Leanne. Yeah. I love that. I love that interaction. You ask a lot of questions. I've only asked 3.
Yeah. I love that they're on the same wavelength. I just think that's the cutest thing. And I know that Dad's got a problem with Victor, but he doesn't know Victor,
Yeah, like we know Victor.
Like we know Victor. That's right. Well, we don't know if Victor is harmless yet or not because dude's carrying around a gun in his lunchbox.
And waving it around.
And waving it around. Yeah.
Anissa says, where do they get water and cleaning supplies? They could probably use some of Tom's distilled potato alcohol for cleaning from
They get it from the same place that the restaurant gets their food and stuff replenished.
And
We don't know where that's coming from, but by God, they've got it.
Lysol out of a faraway tree.
Yeah. Somebody on the other end just throwing some. I don't know why I'm doing it. I was just told to throw it here. Yeah. I don't know. I have more questions after watching this show over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
I love this scene. Oh my God. I love jump scares. I love the whole thing. And when Jade went down there and he opened that door and he saw that body and then that body turned its head and screamed at him. Oh my God. I jumped off of the couch. I loved it. Loved it. It was the best. Now, somebody said, when we were having a conversation about this, did somebody say that the guy looked like his friend?
I did.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, you reminded me of Toby in the face, but it could very well have been, like a Civil War soldier too, because of the way he was dressed.
Yeah.
But Toby is a fucking genius, though.
He's a fucking genius.
He's dead, but
right. Not too smart. Yeah, he's a genius, but no street smarts.
Right.
And then Boyd has the conversation with the pastor about forgiveness and trying to figure out what to do. And he's obviously tormented about it. It's consuming him. And that's why I love Boyd so much, because he just is so afraid to make a bad decision.
Yeah.
And so it shows his morality. And on the good side, I love that. But on the bad side, we know that the moral compass from TWD, they always get offed. So who knows?
Well,
and then
I love
course,
the choosing ceremony where you had to choose. All right, so where would y'all live?
I would probably split my time. I think I'd probably be a townie, but I would go and spend a lot of time at Colony House.
Oh.
Because I just like their vibe.
What about you, Dawn?
I'd go party in the daytime, but at night I'd be in town.
She's like the mullet of From.
I think was it Jamie that when we interviewed him, he said if he had a family, he would probably choose the town, but if he was single, he'd probably go to Colony House.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
What about you, Eliza?
Colony House all the way.
I'd be afraid there's too many drunk people and they'd open windows.
Or you get those idiots that think they're going to make out with somebody there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Destiny's got a good point. Colony House is a lot like Hilltop,
Mhm.
and I get that vibe too.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
All right, well, Frank,
Frank. Yes.
his name. So Frank has offered an option to get out of this punishment, and he refuses the option to get out of it, saying that he wants to be with his family.
Yeah.
What's that?
Do what?
I said that tells you a lot that he
Yeah.
doesn't want to go out and try to survive on his own. He'd rather deal with taking the death.
Yeah. And Jade, of course, is forced to choose.
Because he's acting like an idiot.
If he's acting like an idiot, like an idiot. And so he chooses the town.
Yeah.
See, I'm with Jade.
With Jade. He's batshit crazy.
I'm
I
with
don't
Jade
care.
during the week. I'm with Ellis out there on the weekends.
There you go. And then
And
I love Julie, the fact that she's like, you know, screw y'all, I'm going to Colony House. And Donna's like, okay, ceremony's over, let's go.
Yeah. All right, fresh meat.
Fresh meat, let's do it. Let's go.
One of my favorite things is this right here. When Boyd turns around and tells her just to shut the fuck up, she goes,
I know. Love Liz Saunders.
I love that. That reaction was it was pure gold.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And all the stoic faces in the background actors, I don't know how they just were just as stoic and nothing,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
stern looking.
We need a shirt with that on there. It says "Shut the fuck up."
Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
All right, and there's Jade's friend that
Toby.
So,
shows him to show him that it's real, that it's not a game.
He had to smell him to believe it too.
Yeah. And then we have a montage of memorial and parties. Everybody's accepting the daughter into Colony House, and they're all getting drunk.
Yeah.
And then we have poor daddy's in the cattle car, the box. And if you see the red signs, you know it's happening.
Yep. Yeah.
It's very brooding and very dark. And all of a sudden,
red.
they bust through.
Exactly. I was kind of like, why'd you even shut the door? Why didn't you just make him just stand out in the middle of the road all night?
What was the point?
What's the point?
What was the point?
Make him stand outside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was episode 3.
Okay.
All right. And now we're going to move on to episode 4.
It's about to go down.
It is about to go down. You're right, Anissa.
Yeah.
I love Victor's lunchbox, his disco lunchbox. I think it cracks me up.
Little Victor.
Little Victor. Poor kid.
So something, you know, major had to happen, and you probably have this on your next slide, Carol. You know, because I'm assuming when everybody, you know, Cautry was talking to them about how they all hid in the ground, you know, so something had to have happened that kept everybody outside, because everybody was slaughtered when he comes out of there, except for him.
Right. All right. Victor draws, what's her face? A picture, the daughter,
Julie.
the teenager, Julie. Mm-hmm. And there's Boyd cleaning up the box. Can't be bothered to go clean the house, but he can clean up the box.
Right.
And then the mom has a little breakdown.
Tabitha.
Tabitha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has a little breakdown. And there's Jim being rolled out. Frank
Yeah.
being rolled out. And Jade is showing the deputy.
Kenny. Yeah.
Kenny?
Kenny.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to say, but I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Jade is showing Kenny that little area where the body was and trying to convince him that it turned and screamed at him, but Kenny's not buying it for some reason. Or he's like, yeah, that makes sense because this shit happens all the time in this town.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't quite figured that out. And then Jim and what's the little boy's name?
Ethan. I'm gonna have to get you cue cards.
I swear, it's terrible. Jim and Ethan are at the restaurant, and Ethan's ordering pancakes. And
So did y'all catch? It's either the Matrix glitch, a post-production screw up, or one of those two. It can't be three: Matrix glitch or post-production screw up. When Jim and Ethan are at the table having breakfast, there are two guys that enter. And then within like maybe 4 to 5 seconds, they do a different shot. And those same two guys enter again wearing the same thing. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but you need to go back and watch just that one particular scene in episode 4 where they're having pancakes. There's two guys that walk in. They do a shot of Ethan taking a bite of the pancakes, go back to Jim, and those same two guys walk right back in. So I don't know if that was like a production screw up or a Matrix glitch, but yeah, you got to go check it out, everybody.
And that's funny. I did not catch that.
Yeah.
There's the pancakes.
Yep.
And Victor shows up with the picture of the boy in white, who doesn't have a name that I can forget.
Just the boy in white.
It's the boy in white. I can remember that.
Yeah.
Hell. And then Jim decides that he's going to take out his anger on this guy who he's creeped out by because he's hanging out with his son. Poor Victor.
Me, Jim was like a big old gorilla banging his chest.
I know.
I'm just kind of like, get over yourself,
Yeah, the dad really kind of.
And what was surprising is that everybody in that diner knows who Victor is. Everybody. And all they did was look at him. Nobody tried to step up. Nobody tried to intervene. They all just watched and stayed kind of really quiet. And I'm like, you assholes. Y'all all know Victor. He's been here since he was that kid's age.
I keep waiting for somebody to come to Victor's rescue. And I think the closest that we've gotten was Boyd talking to Jim when he's telling him something later on.
Yeah.
He kind of threw it off on Donna. Well, that's Donna's people.
Nice.
Yeah,
real
nice. Exactly.
The map that's in Boyd's office, which is a very, very important piece of prop, scenery, whatever you want to call it, because it shows the entrance or the origin cities of where everybody had left before they saw the tree in the road. So.
And that's when, Jade's sitting there and he's like, yeah, no fucking way, there's no way. And this is also, I guess, the same scene where Jade hears the radio go off by itself.
We're getting to that part.
Yeah.
You're
right, Anissa.
And then, Anissa, you are right. So Victor and Ethan are in the woods. I remembered his name. Right? And so Victor is going to show him something very cool. He's going to show him, what do they call the tree? The faraway tree. Faraway tree. See, I remember that too. The faraway tree. And Victor takes a stone and he draws a smiley face. Isn't that peculiar that he drew a smiley face, right? And then he tosses the stone into the tree, and it comes dropping from the sky, and it lands on the ground.
But Victor does tell him that they'll take you anywhere, and sometimes you'll get stuck in a mountain, like like what happens,
Yeah.
or you'll get, or you'll come out like right here or a different location. So they'll take you anywhere, you don't know where.
Right. Destination all dun dun dun.
I know. And little Ethan, how did it do that?
Yeah. And then Jim and Tabitha. Jim and Tabitha are the parents, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Jim and Tabitha
She's
go
watching this,
looking,
everybody.
and I haven't even drank yet.
Oh, how funny.
Jim and Tabitha go looking for Ethan in the woods, and while they're in the woods, there's these dogs, and the dogs start snarling and stuff like that. And so Victor, when all is said and done, and he pulls the gun on them, whatever, he goes back and he goes looking through his pictures, and one of the pictures that he drew was of those dogs. So Victor's got a picture for everything.
Yeah.
And then we see the flashback of what Victor is remembering. And he's remembering the slaughter that happened after he came out of that cellar area.
Mm-hmm.
He came out in the town. This is what he's seeing, the carnage. There's bodies everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I lost count of how many bodies there were.
Yeah.
And
But there was everybody.
Yeah, and then the boy in white is there.
So, they theorize on what's going on here as being this type of game that's being played between a witch and a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, and witches will have familiars.
Yeah.
And they're usually animals that are around them. And so they say that the witch tries to help the people in this theory. So if this boy is really the witch manifested as a boy, then having the dogs around him as the familiars would make sense.
Yeah.
Because wherever he is, those dogs are
Mm-hmm.
in some form of proximity.
Right. And I just noticed that the truck or the car behind the little boy is yellow. And that just reminded me of the truck that Michonne and Rick were driving in The Ones Who Live. So there you have it. There's our tie-in, people. Never doubt.
And like we were saying earlier, something bad had to have happened that got everybody out of their hiding hole and got
they
them.
didn't have the talismans at this point.
Right.
So that's why, they would go into the forest and hide at night.
Or into the ground. They had dug holes, remember? They had holes on the ground. Yeah.
Right. The kid in white, that boy in white, he just wants to play with Victor.
Yeah, but how?
Get rid of everybody in town just so the two of them could ride on the merry-go-round? I don't know.
But there's also a lot of turmoil going on in the town. Like you have Tabitha and Jim fighting because they were going to get a divorce.
Right.
And Julie being upset. And that's why Ethan ran off, because they were arguing.
Right.
And then Boyd has that, I ain't going to say in the background too, when you find out later. There's a lot of like conflict going on amongst the characters.
Right.
Yeah. And, and now Jim is seeing that symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out later how that symbol
Mm-hmm.
relates to what happens right here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So it's almost like everything is setting up for another total annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes you wonder if that's going to be repeated. And then the only sole survivor, is that going to be Ethan?
Then, yeah.
Like Victor was in this one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I thought they kind of mirrored each other in the beginning. Like, yeah.
And who doesn't want to play on a merry-go-round with a bunch of dead bodies laying all over the place?
Yeah, I'll pass. A hard pass on that one.
Ellis and Fatima make a spot for Sarah.
Julie.
No, Julie.
Julie. Oh, Sarah's the other one. Julie. They make a spot for Julie. And I couldn't zoom in enough, but the tapestry on the back wall has got Fatima and Ellis in the middle of it, and all these little houses and stuff. But the houses are kind of placed the same way as the talisman is. So,
yeah, and I think Dawn, wasn't it you or Carol, one of you two, that said when you look at the map of the town, and it was Carol, and you can overlay the talisman almost identical on how the town itself is laid out versus the talisman.
yeah, and I think the only building that's not accounted for on the talisman is the church,
which would make sense.
Yeah, I think that's the only one that's not. So,
which would make sense if you think about it, because if it's this otherworldly fight between a witch and a demon, the last thing you're going to want there is any kind of religious, which is why there's no Bibles anywhere in the town.
Right.
There's nothing religious in the town.
And I was not expecting Boyd to start screaming at himself. That was pretty heavy. I mean, he's got a lot of pent up stuff inside, and he's happened to make a really bad choice.
Yeah.
The jukebox, the thing that's on the tables there, you've got to keep an eye on that, because I think that I read somewhere that the songs will change.
Yep. Like, according to the situation.
Yeah, they do. And I think that and I didn't get a chance to double check this, but I heard it the first and the second time that I was watching this episode. The Tabitha and Jim are talking at the table, and their conversation, he says something to her. He says, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to make you feel." And then you hear the song start to get a little bit louder. And the actual verse, and I've got to go back and look at it, the actual verse that starts singing at that point is almost like the radio is answering his sentence.
Yeah.
It's really kind of cool.
Yeah, and we see that again very blatantly in an episode with Boyd.
Yeah.
You know, so the songs that it plays are very big clues of what's going on with the people involved at that particular point, or a situation that's either happened or coming up, getting ready to happen.
Right. And then kill the boy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Sarah, right? That's Sarah?
That's Sarah.
Okay, so Sarah's standing there in the cafe, and all of a sudden she looks over at the table and sees Ethan and his dad, and she starts feeling kind of sick and in pain, and she grips her arm, and the words whelp up on her arm, "Kill the boy." So, I mean, we already know that this chick is a psycho Betty, first off.
Well, I don't know that she's a psycho Betty. I mean, this girl is getting used as a pawn. I mean, she's very blatantly, and you'll see that, I think, more on the development of the storyline with her, that she is definitely getting used by these entities to be do their bidding.
Absolutely.
Also, it's affecting her physically, and emotionally. But they don't care about that. They just need her to do their bidding.
Right. Right. But that's why I say she's a psycho Betty, because it's got to play on her. She's, as far as I'm concerned, she's the most tormented character in this show.
Yeah, I agree.
Her and Boyd. Yeah, her and Boyd.
I think that not having any control, or believing 100% that if the things that she does will get them out of there, is her thought process, and so it trumps everything else that is happening. So, you know, I she's a psycho Betty. She's a
It's like,
pawn. She is. Anyway, so and that's it.
And
That's
then
what
I will at the end where you see Victor digging all those graves took me right back to Jim digging the
yeah.
grave. Yep.
And I had that picture, and I don't know, it apparently didn't make it on my slides, but I did have the picture, and there were what, 5 or 6 or 8 graves
Mhm.
that he was
I
digging.
said, think of Jim
Yeah.
automatically. Right.
but he knew the last time 2 cars showed up
Mm-hmm.
what happened. And here
Mhm.
we've got 2 cars showing up. And so he's like, I'm going to get ahead of it. And it's actually 7 graves. And then what happens going forward is they actually lose 14 people there. So
Right.
it was, yeah. So, you know, it's, I wish, when we interviewed Scott, we talked to Scott about if he felt like his character, if he was just immaturely stunted because of where he was, or if he may have been on the spectrum, on the autistic disorder spectrum. Um, and he also felt, and he even said that he thought that Jade, the character Jade, was probably on the autistic spectrum as well. So, um, there's a lot of insight that Victor has that he's afraid to give, and maybe the knowledge that he has, um, and keeping it a secret's the only thing that's kept him safe.
Yeah.
Maybe if he gives out too many secrets, then it's his demise.
Yeah.
Right, because at one point he says, this is my home. It's all he's known, really, since he was Ethan's age. It's all he's known.
Mhm. Well, I mean, he's the one who's going to be a wealth of information as far as how things work and what's going on, with the trees moving and all of that. And I mean, he's the only one now after they got the talismans. He's the only one now that really kind of ventures out into the woods to, you know,
Mhm.
Measure and
yeah.
yeah.
So,
And he says, everything has always stayed the same, and now it's changing.
mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot, and I'm curious to see, where 3 takes us. But we got a lot more to jump into. We got a lot more, and it's so easy to get ahead of ourselves because I know I've watched it like 5 or 6 times. It's easy to do. I can do that. It's only 2 seasons. I can't watch Walking Dead 5 or 6 times. It's like
Yes,
a
you
bajillion
can.
episodes.
Yes, you can. I'm giving you permission. Start over from the beginning. You can do it.
No, I don't need to do the beginning. I tried that. I got to season 5, so I'm getting close.
Well, I have a
All right.
feeling that this show is going to be one of those shows that the more you watch it, the more you're going to catch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just like TWD is. I'm probably in the, I don't know, probably watched it 60 some odd different times, and I still catch stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
So
And
I have a
there's a lot of symbolism, because one of the things that I've learned in just doing the research is that these showrunners and the TWD showrunners do absolutely nothing by chance.
right.
Everything is of significance. The dream that Ethan had in the RV when he was in his little,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know,
Mhm.
sedated state, was reflective of Victor's room. Victor's got all the clues are in his drawings.
Yes.
Everything that everybody needs to know of what and what is in those drawings.
Yes.
And I loved it when he brought the drawing of the boy to him at the diner and said,
Mm-hmm.
"Is this the boy you saw?" And he's like, "Who drew this?" He goes, "Well, I
Yeah.
did." And he goes, "Like,
It's in
it's
crayon.
in crayon," So,
Yeah. No, I have a feeling that the more I watch it, the more I'm gonna catch stuff.
uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, yep, absolutely, absolutely.
oh, thank you, Josh. You're awesome too, Josh Pineda.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Josh.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Josh.
it. And this is watched from all the way through twice.
Yep.
Yeah, I've watched couple of times all the way through, and I'm still I'm paying more attention now to what's going on in the background, because now that
Right.
I've watched it, now I'm paying more attention to the walls in Victor's room and you know, the tapestry and stuff like that. So
And there's some really good there's a really good theory video on YouTube, and it's a two-part deal, and I've shared it with the girls, and it really goes into the Bekeith folklore of the witch and the Bekeith and the demon, and that's all real folklore for up in the Newfoundland area and Nova Scotia area.
right.
And a lot of the symbolism, talking about the colors, they use a lot of coloring and the imagery of the colors, and so if you get a chance to check those out, it'll really kind of help. Oh, click some stuff in your when you're watching it. Like saying it's a board game, you'll notice a lot of board game patterns. The chessboard.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, you once you've watched it once and you go through your second time, you'll start to see the little clues about games and stuff like that for sure. I can figure that this is definitely a game of some sort, because they use that imagery over and over again.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of similarities to this and TWD. You were saying about the writers and the showrunners. Nothing is by chance, and this is done by the people from Lost, and Lost all the way up until the last episode. Everything was really, really. It was hard to figure out,
Mhm.
and I'm hoping that this show is like that too.
Oh, and we asked one of them, this doesn't have an ending like Lost, does it? And they're like, no, it's not supposed to. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Where everybody
Yeah.
was like, what?
What?
Yeah.
Kind of like our ending on The Ones Who Live. What?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I guess looking forward, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, comes out September 29th.
Super excited.
And we're hoping that shortly after that, From season 3 will be released. And
Or
then
it
I
might
guess, do what, babe?
It might be the same month.
Yep,
Well,
it
we'll
might,
be watching then.
it might
Mhm.
be. And then I'm assuming probably Dead City will probably come out either in the winter or first of the year, maybe the first of the year.
Yeah, I think they're saying here.
Yeah, for the first of the year. And we're still working on getting a few special guests, so keep your eyes on both the group page and also the podcast public page. So we'll be announcing guests there.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Oh, and guys, guess what?
What?
Next month we're going to celebrate our 1-year anniversary.
No, this month.
Wow.
Is it June?
Yes.
This month we're going to
Yes.
celebrate our 1-year anniversary.
It's
June 19th. Mm-hmm.
June 19th. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that we have been doing this for a year.
Yes.
And we haven't killed each other. It's because we live in separate states.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes, and in fact, our very first special guest that we had on the show was Oscar, and he's going to come back and join us on June 24th, that Monday. He's going to pop in and join us back. So, yeah, thank you guys for the ones who have been our financial supporters from day one. You've seen what we've done with our money. We give it back in game awards. We give it back at camp with different events and photo ops. So, Destiny. Okay, Norman's movie, The Bike Rider, comes out June 21st. Don't forget her boo. Don't forget the
I know
boo.
you knew it was your boo.
She's like you, Dawn. She's just racking them up.
So you got boo number 2.
Boo number 2.
Destiny, what is it you call Josh? She has this big long name for Josh.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard that one.
Destiny, tell us your big long name for Josh.
She's probably typing it away. It's going to take her a minute.
It will. But yeah, so we're excited. And Oscar is making specialized 30-ounce cups. So hit Oscar's Red Hat up. Mine is Are You Not Ashamed? The Pope.
Let me tell you,
Okay.
they're awesome because it comes with the metal straw and then it comes with a little brush to clean it. I think that's so cool.
Mm,
My
Oh.
MVA cup did too.
There you
That's
go.
cool.
All right. So Destiny. Okay. Joshy Poo Tater Bug McDermott.
Okay.
If he
I
comes
wanna-
back to the camp next year, I'm getting you a shirt that says that.
Yeah, I want to see that on a T-shirt.
He'll love
It'd
it.
have to be
Along
long.
Along with our suck, swish, and swallow.
Yeah. And then if we ever get to see Scott, we all have to wear our FMITM shirts.
Oh yeah, yes.
And if you know, you
You mean
know.
the fuck me in the mouth shirts? Those?
Yeah. Yeah. If you know, you know. If you don't, go watch our episode with Scott McScord. All right.
Well,
What
I'm
else,
super
girl?
excited. Super excited. 1 year. Can't stand it.
We're going to be giving away some prizes that day too, right? Some autographs and some stuff and things.
I think so. I think so.
I've
Yeah.
got 2 autographs that we can give away. Walking
Yeah.
Dead related.
Yeah, we're sorry that Barb's not here tonight, guys, but she's got something going on. She's really, really sick. So if you guys can kind of send her good vibes and all of
They
that.
got the comic crud.
Yeah, she got
Comic
comics.
crud.
So
Yeah. She's pretty rough. Yeah. So send
it's
her
pretty
lots
bad
of love.
to get her down. So she's not feeling good at all.
She
Anyway.
sounded like she had smoked about 20 packs of cigarettes and drank a bottle of whiskey.
Non-filter cigarettes.
Non-filtered cigarettes.
Yeah, it's not doing good. So
All I know is if I see where Harold or Cordion are sick, I'm going to tell them that Barb did it.
right. So
We want to pop the Patreons on.
yeah, Josh said he really likes the guests that we're bringing on our podcast. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, we're
We
working
work really
on
hard.
it.
Yeah.
Ain't too proud to beg. Ain't too proud to beg.
Hey, we like to thank our Patreons and financial supporters of our show. Destiny, what is it? What is Eugene Pooh, whatever what his name was? I was going to add that on there.
So it's Destiny. Hers is going to be now Destiny Pooh Taterbug Lattimore.
There you go. Destiny Pooh Taterbug. Terry and Kay Collier. Sandy Morrison, Tracy Killen Stokes, Ben and Melissa Gilbert, Pamela Blythe, Marianne Craig, Brandon K, Jason Cohn, Wesley and Sarah Hale, Randy Nickel, Jasmine Mullins, Edward and Diana Ponce Krupa, Melissa Patterson, Casey and Katrina Florg, Jason Hill, Jonathan Michelle Cooley, and our very own Destin Baker. And a very special thank you to Oscar and Casey.
And why do they want to be a Patreon?
We were getting that. We were getting to that.
That's Carol's line.
That's my line. Damn. You people in the audience, you see how I get disrespected all the time.
I had to mix it up.
So you can check us out on Facebook where we play our games and give away monthly prizes. And then we have our podcast page. We are on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter. You can order cool merchandise. And then you can come a Patreon where it's $10 a month or $20 a month. Correct?
Yep. Go ahead, Lisa. Ask her the question.
I forgot now what the other one was.
Why do they want to become a Patreon, Dawn?
Because we get back to a TWD and Frumley community.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you get a cool t-shirt that not
Yeah.
everybody gets. Love the t-shirt. The girls were repping this weekend at the con. Pam had hers on. Dawn had hers. Barb was wearing hers. And what did Cordion say?
He's like, I've heard of you all. He even pointed. He was like pointing at the shirt. But like people were asking us about the shirts too. So that was kind of exciting.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love it. Get more people
I might
on
have
here.
to order some more bracelets.
Yeah.
May need to order
All
some
right.
more bracelets.
Well, what are we doing next week?
I guess we are watching episode 5 and 6 unless we have a guest. You never know. Things happen.
Right.
We make adjustments.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll keep our fingers crossed that we get Boyd or Ellis.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe we can talk to them with about 5 and 6, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
And one of the things that we also do, especially for everybody in the audience, is we give the actors that we have come on our show the option of any night that works with their schedule, because we want to be flexible for them. But we tell them that we air on Monday night, so they've usually been pretty easy. Scott, we had to do on a Sunday, but of course he was actually in the midst of filming, so we had to do him on a day off. So, but we will definitely keep you guys posted of when and all that.
I will tell you this: when we asked Maggie Grace about being on the podcast, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool! How long have you all been doing that?" And we're like, "Almost a year." And she goes, "That must take a lot of work editing all that." I said, "No, honey, we do it live." She goes, "Live?"
Yeah, with no filters.
Yeah,
there's no editing.
Right. That's right, because we're feral.
Yes.
Yeah. See, there's other podcasts that do a live showing of their recorded episode, and we just put it out there. The good, the bad, the ugly.
The mistakes, whatever.
There's no mistakes. It's all done on purpose. Every bit of it.
Well, that's a line from Donna.
Yep.
There's no mistakes, just choices.
Yeah.
And we made the choice to be live and real. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thanks for supporting us, guys, and watching.
We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yeah.